Hello guys, so this will be the first video presentation of our subject. Okay, so today we will be discuss the definition of criminal law, okay, the relationship of criminal law to special law, the suppletory application of criminal law to special law, the difference between mala inse and mala prohibita, the evolution of criminal law in the Philippines. Okay, so let's start our discussion. Okay, the first thing that we have to do is to define what is criminal law. Okay, what do you mean by criminal law? Okay, criminal law is defined as the branch of public law which defines crimes, treat of its nature, and provides for its punishment. So this definition is the most cited definition of criminal law. Okay, so in this definition, criminal law is described as public law. So when you say about public law, it refers to a law that deals with the relationship of government or the state to its individual. Okay, so that is public law. Now, what does criminal law do? Okay, criminal law defines crimes, okay, treat of its nature, provide for its punishment. Okay, so the first function of a criminal law is to define crimes. Okay, so when you reach later on your revised penal code book 2 or yung criminal law book 2 ninyo na subject, okay, so there all crimes are already defined, okay, in that particular book. Okay, so their elements, you will learn them, okay, later on. Okay, what constitutes these crimes or what are the elements, okay, of the different crimes. So nandoon yon sa book 2 ng revised penal code. And by the way, the revised penal code is our criminal law. Okay, then the second, okay, one is criminal law treat the nature of these crimes. Okay, okay, doon din sa book 2 ninyo, nakakategorize na rin yung mga different crimes doon. Okay, so mayroon tayong category as crimes against property, crimes against person, okay, crimes against national security and the law of nations, okay, mga quasi-offenses. Okay, so yun yung mga nature ng mga different crimes. Okay, and then lastly, criminal law provides, okay, for the punishment, okay, of the different crimes, okay, identified in the revised penal code. Okay, so yung mga crimes na nakalista doon sa revised penal code, may corresponding punishment yon. Okay, so those are the three scopes, okay, of criminal law. Okay, again, criminal law defines crimes, treat of its nature, and provides for each punishment. Okay, now, why criminal law is considered as a public law? Okay, criminal law is considered as public law because it deals with the relation of the individual with the state. Okay, here, no, when it's about criminal case, okay, criminal case kasi is brought by government against an individual. Okay, with exemption of course with those private prosecution. Okay, yung isang complaint kasi or information, pwede yung i-file mismo ng mga law enforcement agency or any public officer, okay, in charge with the enforcement of the law violated. Okay, and usually the criminal case, okay, is named not, okay, victim versus the accused. So instead, criminal case is always entitled as People of the Philippines versus the accused, because the crime committed by the accused is not actually committed against the victim, but against the society or against the state. Okay, so here in criminal law, the accused is also held accountable to the public for his wrong. Okay, he can never be held accountable for acts committed by others. Okay, kasi nga ang public law, di ba, sabi natin kanina, it deals with the relationship, okay, of the government, okay, or the state, okay, to its individual. Now, kaya public law yung tinatawag natin na criminal law because dito, sabi dito, the accused will be held responsible to the public for his wrong. Okay, kaya personal relationship. Dapat ang na-violate, okay, ng akusado is yung kaniyang relationship with the state. Okay, that is personal, no? Personal relationship. So, hindi siya pwedeng maging accountable kay sa mga nagawa na acts, okay, which is in violation of our criminal law ng ibang tao. Okay? So, that is why criminal law is considered as public law. Now, public law is divided into two. Okay? So, we have the so-called substantive law, okay, and we have the so-called remedial law. Okay, now what is the difference between these two division of public law? When you say about substantive law, okay, that is the law that creates, defines, or regulates rights concerning the three fundamental rights of an individual. Okay, that is the right to life, liberty, or property. Okay, it also deals with the power of agencies or instrumentalities for the administration of public affairs. So an example of this, okay, is criminal law, civil law, and taxation law. Now, criminal law is considered as substantive law because it defines the state's right to inflict punishment and the liability of the offenders. Okay, so again, remember guys, substantive law is the law that creates rights or define or regulate your rights. Okay, what particular rights? That is the right to life, liberty, or property. Now, when it comes to your remedial law, okay, remedial law is the law that prescribes the method of enforcing rights or obtaining redress for their invasion. So it is also known as objective law or procedural law. From that alone, you can already know that when you say about remedial law, okay, that pertains to the procedures of enforcing the rights, okay, creates, define, and regulates by your substantive law. Okay, for instance, in criminal law, no, homicide is punishable in criminal law. When someone committed homicide, okay, and he was arrested, okay, so he will undergo a certain procedure to determine his guilt or his innocence. Okay, and that is pertaining to your remedial law. Okay, an example of remedial law is criminal procedure and criminal evidence. Okay, now let's go to the nature of criminal law as municipal law. Okay, so dinidescribe din ang criminal law as a municipal law. Pag sinabi nating municipal law, okay, that is a national, domestic, or internal law of the sovereign state. Okay, remember guys, criminal law is a municipal law. That is an internal law, okay, that covers that is limited only, okay, to the territory of the Philippines. Okay, so yung RPC natin, okay, one of its characteristics is territoriality, meaning to say, it is applicable only within the Philippine jurisdiction. However, there are exemptions to that, and that is Article 2, okay, of the Revised Penal Code. Ito yung tinatawag natin na extra territorial application of the Revised Penal Code or ng ating criminal law. Now, let's go to the definition of crime. Sabi natin kanina, okay, when you say about criminal law, okay, it is the law that defines crime. Okay, so ano ba yung tinatawag natin na crime? Crime is an act committed or omitted in violation of criminal law, okay, either forbidding or commanding it. Okay, so if you notice in this definition, okay, crime can be an act committed or omitted. Okay, in violation of criminal law. Okay, now there are three major categories of crime. So we have felony, offense, and misdemeanor. Okay, felony refers to an act or omission punishable by the revised penal code. Okay, so lahat ng mga crimes na makikita okay, doon sa revised penal code, okay, except for technical malversation, ay tinatawag nating felony. Okay? Whereas when you say about offense, okay, it refers to those acts or mission punishable by special laws. Okay, all act or omission, okay, beyond revised penal code, ang tawag natin doon ay offense. Okay? Why? Because they are punishable by special penal laws. Then we have the third category, okay, of crime. We have misdemeanor or infraction. Okay, so it refers to the act or omission punishable by an ordinance only. Okay, again, let's repeat, no? Revised Penal Code, if that is a violation of the Revised Penal Code, okay, the act or omission is considered felony. If it is punishable by special penal law, then that such act or omission is considered offense. If that is a if it is punishable by an ordinance, then the act or omission is considered misdemeanor or infraction. Okay. Next, let's go to the suppletory application of the revised penal code. Okay, Article 10, okay, of the revised penal code states that offenses which are or in the future may be punishable under special laws are not subject to the provisions of this code. So this code shall be supplementary to such laws unless the latter should specially provide, okay, to the contrary. Okay? So this article explains that yung mga offenses daw na hindi punishable, okay, in the revised penal code, and later on, okay, it is punishable under special law. Okay, the provision of the revised penal code or the criminal law, okay, shall be suppletory, okay, to such law, punishing those future crime. Okay? For example, is yung ating Republic Act number 10175. Okay? O yung Cybercrime Law, okay, of the Philippines. Okay? Under that kasi, that law defines the so-called cyber libel. However, the law does not provide punishment, okay, for cyber libel. Since Republic Act number 10175 defines cyber libel, okay, as a crime or as a form of libel or other way to commit, okay, the crime of libel, okay, the penalty of cyber libel will be the same to that of the penalty of libel under the revised penal code. Okay? Wala kasing nabanggit doon sa Republic Act number 10175 na penalty ang cyber libel. It's just define what is cyber libel is all about. Okay? So, ang mangyayari, since walang penalty doon sa special law na yon, the provision of the revised penal code on libel will be obligatory, okay, applied to Republic Act number 10175. Hence, the penalty of libel under the revised penal code will be the penalty of the cyber libel. Okay, so that is the relationship between the RPC, okay, and a special law. Okay, I repeat, that is only suppletory application of the provision of the revised penal code in case there is a lacking provision, okay, of the special penal law. Now, let's go to the difference between mala inse and mala prohibita. Okay, so when you say about mala inse, that is a violation of the revised penal code. Okay, when you say about mala prohibita, that is a violation of the special law. Okay, now let's go to certain points of distinctions between these two terms. When you say about mala inse, okay, as to its nature, wrong from its very nature. Okay, evil or against the law, okay, for public good. Okay, so that is the very nature of crime mala inse. Okay, they are evil, okay, or wrong from their very nature. Okay, example, we have homicide. It inherently evil kasi ang pagpatay. Okay, and considered as well as sin, okay, under the Bible. While mala prohibita, okay, as to its nature, they are not inherently bad, evil, or wrong. However, they are still declared illegal because the law says it is illegal. Okay? So, in other words, magiging illegal lang ang crime mala insa, okay, when a particular law, okay, expressly provides that particular act or omission is wrong. For instance, illegal possession of firearms. Okay? So, illegal possession of firearms is not considered evil or wrong or bad from its very nature. Okay? Because in other countries, allowed naman yung pag-possess ng baril. Okay? Pero dito, okay, sa Pilipinas, okay, it is punishable because we have law, okay, saying that you cannot possess firearms, okay, unless you have a license to possess, okay, such firearms. Pero hanggat wala kang license to possess firearms, then hindi ka pwedeng mag-possess ng mga baril, okay, because the law says na hindi pwede. Okay? So I repeat, mala prohibita is not inherently wrong from its very nature as compared to mala inse, which is very wrong from its very nature. Okay? Then, as to essential elements, okay, in crime mala inse, criminal intent is an element of crime. Okay? So remember our discussion during your introduction to criminology, yung elements ng felony, okay? Yung element ng tinatawag natin na intentional felony. Okay, di ba? We have the AFI, no? Intent, freedom, and intelligence. So, crime mala inse, okay, which is a violation of the RPC, requires intent to be punishable. Okay, except, of course, yung mga culpable felonies defined under the RPC, wherein the requirement is negligence, lack of skill, okay, lack of foresight, okay, and imprudence. Okay, whereas in mala prohibita, criminal intent is not an element. Okay, what is required in crime mala prohibita, okay, is the voluntariness of the act. Okay? So, hindi mahalaga dito yung intent, okay, ng akusado. Okay? Ang mahalaga lang, voluntary ba yung paggawa niya ng act na yun. Okay? For instance, dun sa unang example natin kanina, okay, may hawak-hawak kang baril and you do not have license to possess, even if you will say that you do not have intent to use it, okay, in the commission of crime, okay, the fact that you carry that firearms voluntary, okay, that is already punishable. Now let's go to defenses. In crime mala inse, good faith or lack of criminal intent may be raised as a defense. Okay? Since sinabi natin kanina, okay, intent is an essential element of the crime mala inse. Hence, Okay, if you do not have intent, then you can use that, okay, as a matter of defense. Okay, for instance, A and B has a conflict. Then si A, babarilin niya si A. Okay, nakita ni B, nababarilin na siya ni A. So, inunahan niya, okay, bumura siya ng baril, mas mabilis. Okay, so binaril niya si A, patay. Now, can B raise yung tinatawag natin na self-defense? Okay, since it has no criminal intent, okay, to kill A. Kasi ang gusto niya lang gawin is protektahan yung kanyang sarili. Okay, so in that case, he can raise self-defense, okay, in order for him not to be criminally liable since there is no intent to kill on his part because what he do is only self-defense. Now, let's go to crime mala prohibita. Okay, here in crime mala prohibita, good faith is not a defense. Okay, only defense is lack of voluntariness in the commission of crime. Okay, so ang defense mo lang dito sa crime mala prohibita is hindi voluntary yung act, okay, o yung paggawa mo ng krimen. Okay, so pwede mong sabihin, tinakot ka lang, okay, pinersa ka na gawin yung crime. Okay, so the moment that you committed, okay, the act which is prohibited, okay, in the special law, okay, and that act, okay, done by you is voluntary on your part, so you will be held liable regardless, okay, whether you have good intention or none. Okay, so for example, okay, nagtanim ka ng marijuana doon sa bakuran mo and your intention there is for beautification only. Gusto mo lang kasing may nakikitang marijuana sa hardin mo. Okay? Under Republic Act number 9165, okay, pag nagtanim ka ng marijuana, that is considered planting. Okay? At ipinagbabawal yan sa Republic Act number 9165. Okay? Kahit sabihin mo na itinanim mo lang yung marijuana for beautification purposes para maging maganda yung bakuran mo at hindi mo naman balak gamitin yon or ibenta, okay, the fact that you plant marijuana, okay, voluntarily, okay, that is already punishable. Okay? Yung good faith na for beautification purposes only, hindi mo yan magagamit as a self-defense. Okay? Next, let's go to your criminal liability. Okay, in crime mala inse, criminal liability is generally incurred even if it is not, even if it is only attempted or frustrated. In other words, in crime mala inse, okay, there could be three stages of crime or two stages of crime. So, mayroon tayong attempted, frustrated, consummated stage. Pag sa crime mala inse or attempted, no frustrated, okay, and merong consummated stage. Or frustrated, okay, no attempted, merong frustrated, merong consummated. Okay? So, dito sa crime mala inse, again, there are stages of crime. While in crime mala prohibita, okay, the crime is always consummated. Okay, that is in general, General, there is only consummated in crime mala prohibita. Okay, so wala daw attempted, walang frustrated. Okay, unless, okay, otherwise stated by special law. Okay? Mayroon kasing mga special law that is in the nature of mala inse. Di ba sabi natin kanina, kapag ang batas ay special law, yung act or omission, okay, na prohibited under that is known as crime mala prohibita. Okay? Pero mayroon kasing mga special law na considered siya as crime mala inse. Okay? We will discuss later on the reason, okay, or what are the specific criteria to say that a special law is considered as crime mala inse. Kagaya na lamang ng Republic Act number 7080 o yung tinatawag na ating anti-plunder law. Special law siya, okay, pero considered siya as mala inse. Okay? Ano ba yung mga criteria na sinasabi natin? Okay, para ma-determine natin kung ang special law is considered as mala inse. So there are two criteria, okay, to determine a special law is considered as crime mala inse. Okay, the first one is when the special law uses the nomenclature of punishment, okay, in the revised penal code. Okay? Sa madaling salita, ang ginagamit na penalty ay yung penalty na ginagamit sa revised penal code. Okay, ano yung mga yon? Okay, yan yung reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, okay, at prison correctional, prison mayor, arresto mayor, and arresto minor. Kapag ang penalty sa special law ay mga iyon, ang tawag natin sa special law na yon ay crime mala inse. Okay? Or in the nature of crime mala inse. Okay? Kakaintindihan tayo guys? Okay, again, kapag ang ginamit ng special law ay ang nomenclature of penalty ng RPC, such special law is in the nature of crime mala inse. Okay, kasi ang penalty dapat ng special law is definite imprisonment. Okay, so kunyari, 4 years imprisonment. Okay, or 4 years, 2 months imprisonment. Ganun yung penalty sa special law. Okay, or life imprisonment. Okay? Pero kapag ang penalty ay reclusion perpetua, reclusion temporal, yung special law na yon is in the nature of mala inse. The second criteria is when the act punishable in the special law, okay, has 3 stages. Kung mayroon daw 3 stages, okay, or 2 or 3 stages in the commission, okay, of such acts punishable in the special law, ang tawag natin sa special law na yon is in the nature of mala inse. Okay? Katulad na lamang ng Republic Act number 9208 o yung tinatawag na atin na Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act. No? Mayroon yung attempted trafficking in person. So, yung Republic Act number 9208 is a special law. However, it is in the nature of mala inse. Since, okay, trafficking in person has attempted and frustrated stage. Okay? So, hindi lang siya consummated. Okay? So, yun yung dalawang criteria to determine whether the special law is considered as crime mala inse. Now, meron din bang crime mala inse under the revised penal code na considered na mala prohibita in its nature? Okay? Meron. And nag-iisa lang. Okay? Yun yung tinatawag natin na technical malversation. Technical malversation, okay, is found in the revised penal code. However, okay, such crime is in the nature of mala prohibita. Okay? Why? Pag sinabi natin kasing technical malversation, okay, ito yung tinatawag natin na paglilipat ng pondo na nakalaan sa isang proyekto okay, sa ibang proyekto. For instance, a fund is to be used, okay, for the creation of a municipal hall. Okay? So, gagawa ng municipal hall dapat. o yung pera is gagamitin sa paggawa ng municipal hall. Okay? Pero si mayor, iba ang ginawa doon sa pondo. Okay? Instead na gamitin yon sa pagpapatayo ng municipal hall, ginamit niya yon sa pagpapalawak ng daanan or road widening. Okay? Sa batas, nakatakda doon na gagamitin yun sa paggawa ng municipal hall. Pero iba yung pinanggamitan. Yun yung tinatawag natin na technical malversation. Kaya siya sinabi na kaya siya tinawag na mala prohibita by nature, although punishable siya under the revised penal code because what is violated there is the law that mandates that a certain funds must be used doon sa proyekto na nakalaan siya. Okay? Hindi siya dapat gamitin sa ibang proyekto. Okay? Again, kaya siya mala prohibita is because yung batas, yung nababiolate doon is yung batas na nagtatakda sa funds or sa public funds na gamitin yung funds na yon sa specific na project. Okay? So that is the difference between mala insect and mala prohibita. Now, let's go to the evolution of the penal code in the Philippines. Okay? So, it started doon sa ating Code of Kalanchaw. Okay? So, the Code of Kalanchaw is often termed as the first penal law in the history of the Philippines. Okay? So, here in this code, no, one of the punishable act here is adultery and concubinage. So, nung unang panahon pa lang, ipinagbabawal na talaga yung pakikipit. Okay? Then we have the Spanish Penal Code, okay? O yung tinatawag natin na Old Penal Code. This is the origin of the present revised Penal Code. So this is created by virtue of a royal decree of 1870. So this was made effective in the Philippines on July 14, 1887 and was enforced up to December 31 of 1932. Okay? So, unang nag-effect yung ating Spanish Penal Code noong July 14, 1887. And it remained in force up until December 31, 1931. Kaya siya tinawag na Spanish Code because this code was implemented during the Spanish colonization. Okay? Then we have the so-called correctional code. So this is made by Rafael Delfan. However, this code was never enacted into law. Now, let's go to the present revised penal code of the Philippines, which is created by virtue of Act number 3815. Okay, so this was created by a committee organized pursuant to Administrative Order number 94 of the Department of Justice, dated October 18, 1927. Okay, so the committee composed of Anacleto Diaz, okay, that serve as the chairman. We have Quintin Paredes, Guillermo Guevara, Alex Reyes, and Mariano H. De Hoya. So this committee was the one who drafted the present penal code. So the revised penal code was approved December 8, 1930. However, it took effect only on January 1 of 1932. Okay? Then we have also the Code of Crimes by Guevara. So this code is left in Congress. It was never enacted in law. So the same with the Correctional Code by Rafael Delfan. So the Code of Crimes by Guevara, okay, was never enacted. Okay? Now let's go to the latest amendments of the revised penal code. So we have Republic Act number 10951. Okay, we have Republic Act number 10158 and Republic Act number 10655. Okay, so the latest amendments, okay, is Republic Act number 9, Republic Act number 10591. So it is an act adjusting the amount of the value of property and damage on which a penalty is based and fines imposed under the revised penal code. So this law specifically amended two article in Book 1. Okay, we have Article 9 and Article 26. So this law was signed into law on August 29, 2017. Okay? So, pinataas lang naman ng Republic Act number 10591 yung mga fines na ini-impose under the revised penal code. So, dati kasi, ang light felony is less than 200 yung fine. Okay, less grave is more than 200 but not more than or does not exceed 6,000. And then if grave offense, then that the fine or the amount of fine imposed is more than 6,000. Now, light felonies, okay, is less than 40,000 pesos. For less grave felonies, okay, the fine imposed now is um, more than 40,000 but less than 1,200,000 pesos. Okay, for grave felonies, then it exceeds, the amount of fine exceeds 1,200,000 pesos. Okay, now let's go to Republic Act number 10158. So that is the law that decriminalized vagrancy under Article 202 of the revised penal code. Pag sinabi nating vagrants, okay, pag sinabi nating vagrancy, okay, ito yung crime na nakukumit ng mga mahihirap. So ito yung mga tao na kung saan-saan or pakalat-kalat, no, sa lansangan. Okay? So, na-decriminalize na yan since sabi nila, hindi naman kasalanan ang pagiging mahirap. Okay? Next, let's go to RA number 10655. Okay? This is the law that repealed Article 351 of the revised penal code, okay, which criminalize premature marriage, okay, without reenactment. So this is a total repeal in which the intention of the new law is to decriminalize the act punishable of the old law. So wala na tayo ngayong crime na premature marriage. Pag sinabi natin kasing premature marriage, yung asawa yung namatay na lalaki, no, our husband, is nagpakasal, okay, within the period of 301 days. Okay? Kaya siya tinawag na premature marriage kasi nagpakasal siya within that period. Okay? Ano ba yung reason kung bakit pinipigilan na yung wife is magpakasal after mamatay ng kanyang husband? Okay? Para later on, kasi baka buntis yun, magkaroon ng problema, okay, to determine who is the father of the child. Okay? Kasi kung namatay yung asawa at buntis yun, and then nagpakasal, okay, the tendency is, okay, mislead kung sino, okay, yung father. Yun bang namatay o yung bago. Okay? So yun yung iniiwasan before kung bakit criminalize or ipinagbabawal yung tinatawag natin na premature marriage. Pero ngayon, wala na ngayon tayong crime na premature marriage. So, at any time after the death of the husband, pwede nang magpakasal yung mga widow. So, that's it for now. Okay? So, hanggang doon muna, okay, yung ating discussion. So, wait for the other video, okay, to be uploaded in this Edmodo. Okay? Thank you for listening and have a nice day.